Welcome to the Canadian Pakistani Friends of Osler's first annual Eid Luncheon. My name is Mahnoor Monga. I'm a chemical engineering graduate from the University of Toronto, and I'll be co-emceeing with...
I am Dr. Ravel Chowdhury. I work for the Department of Anesthesia at Sunnybrook Hospital.
The Canadian Pakistani Friends of Osler is a group of community-minded leaders who are committed to improving healthcare in their communities. You Have the Power is a campaign that aims to give back with a $500,000 pledge. The funds raised by the CPFO will be used to enhance patient care at Osler's 3 hospitals, Brampton Civic, New Pill Memorial, and Etobicoke General.
So first on stage, I would like to invite Badr Shamim. He is a first-generation immigrant from Pakistan. Badr Shamim has been in the investment industry for over 20 years while working for Trapezi Asset Management as Vice President. Badr chairs the Canadian Pakistani Friends of Osler Committee as well as International Service Committee of Rotary Club of Brampton. He is also the immediate past chair of Brampton Board of Trade. Badr Shamim.
We certainly hope that you had a great time networking with each other and also had an opportunity to familiarize yourself with the fine food that this establishment serves. It's my privilege today to welcome you on behalf of Canadian Pakistani Friends of Osler. We have a number of dignitaries in attendance, so allow me to recognize Her Worship, Mayor Linda Jeffrey, Councillor Jeff Bowman, Councillor Dylan was in attendance. He had to leave on a short notice, so he is no longer here, but he was with us for a while. MPP Harinder Mali. You'll notice that she's wearing the Pakistani green. And we also have representation from our neighbors to the north. Joanna Downing, Regional Councillor for the City of Caledon, is also here. And that's the rubbish to welcome you, by the way, Joanna. So once again, thank you to the first annual Eid Luncheon for Willem Osler. If any of you are technology savvy and you do the tweeting and you want to promote the cause as well as this event, the hashtag is Eat4 Osler. So Eat for Osler. Please do feel free to actually tweet about it. Since this is an Eid luncheon, I would be remiss not to wish everybody a belated Eid. Certainly hope everybody had a pleasant time with their family and friends over the last few weeks. I can tell you that if you had grown up in Pakistan, Eid goes on for months. It doesn't really come to an end. Pakistanis in general, and people like me who were born in the city of Lahore, we're all foodies. So any excuse for food works out really well, and Eid provides a perfect backdrop for that. It so happens that Brampton is a fantastic place for all kinds of different cuisine these days. So I feel right at home. The spirit of Eid celebration is that of being thankful for all that we have, for family, for friends, for shelter, and above all, for health. So today's event in particular is for us to be thankful for our health and all that the Osler health system does to keep all of us healthy. South Asian community in particularly does have a predisposition to being impacted by cardiovascular as well as diabetes-related healthcare issues. Brampton being home to 40% of Brampton residents being of South Asian origins means that unfortunately we do see a higher than average prevalence of these issues in Brampton as compared to other jurisdictions across Canada. So I think it's imperative for all of us to take a little bit of time and familiarize ourselves with not only what that healthcare stat looks like, but also all that Willem Osler is doing in terms of prevention as well as dealing with the aftermath of people having to suffer with issues related to cardiovascular issues as well as diabetes. I won't dwell too much on disease and sickness, but the reality is that we have to deal with it on a day-to-day basis amongst our community, and we do have to acknowledge it. Now, just like Christmas, the best part of Eid, especially for me growing up in Pakistan as a child, is getting presents, right? So, in Pakistani community and Muslim community in general, we call it Eid. Right, so this is my call for all of you to show some love to Willem Osler, and do consider giving some Eid at this Eid event to Willem Osler. I can tell you that anything you will give to Osler will only come back to you in spades as our own family members, loved ones continue to utilize our healthcare system. Events such as today's are certainly not possible without the generous support of our corporate sponsors. I would be remiss not to thank Meridian Credit Union. Who's here from Meridian? Oh, there. So table 4. Do you guys want to take a quick stand and be recognized? So Meridian not only generously supported our henna tattoos, which I saw Councillor Downey taking full advantage of, but they're also our corporate table sponsors. Thank you for that, Meridian. In addition to Meridian, the other table sponsors that should be acknowledged today include MMP LLP. Shiraz, where are you? Can I ask you to stand? Thank you. Zidani General Contracting. I saw Usman here from Zidani. Oh, Felice as well as Usman. They're both here. Thank you, Zidani. Canada-Pakistan Business Council. We have a very special relationship with Canada-Pakistan Business Council as a trade lobbying group, a trade networking group. Brampton Board of Trade, our regional chamber in Brampton that represents roughly employers with roughly 40,000 employees, have a memorandum of understanding with Canada-Pakistan Business Council to both explore outbound export and investment related opportunities, and at the same time quarterback their efforts in terms of bringing businesses from Pakistan to Brampton. We are joined today by their president, Samir Dosal. Samir does not need any recognition, but Samir, if I may ask you to stand and be recognized. Now that I'm recognizing Samir, I've made a mistake, and I will probably pay dearly for this. I should have recognized with the dignitary in my introductions. We are joined here by His Excellency Imran Siddiqui, the esteemed Consul General of Pakistan in Toronto. Imran, would you mind standing up? Never been to Pakistan, that's where it is at. All right, so continuing on with other corporate sponsors, Maple Lodge Farms also owns a brand called Smiha Halal. They are proud sponsors of the corporate table today. Open Toronto, which is new to Canada. They're certainly not new in general. They're an international professional network of Pakistanis spanning San Francisco, Dallas, Washington. They don't have a chapter in Toronto. If I may ask their current executive to just stand and be recognized. Oh, there they are. Yeah. Dr. Barash, Professional Corps. Dr. Saad is one of those people who just does not know how to say no. And I mean that. Anytime I've approached him to support CPFO, our Rotary Club sponsors a school in Pakistan in partnership with TCF Foundation. Dr. Saad has been the first one to say, absolutely, let's do it. That's what it's all about, community giving. Thank you, Dr. Saad. That's another apology that I'll probably have to offer later, but the Nasir Mahmood Professional Corp, is that the right name? Thank you, Nasir from Mahmood Corporation. Professional Corporation is also a table sponsor at our event today. Osler Foundation also graciously sponsored our hat table, so Maureen Shaheen, our Vice President for Philanthropy for Willem Osler is here with us. Maureen, may I ask you to stand? Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat Brampton sponsored a table. I don't know who's here from the executive, but if I may ask them to stand and be recognized. Thank you kindly. Enzola Construction also sponsored a table. I think Tina Larson is here on their behalf. Thank you, Tina, for joining us today. Citizens Foundation, as I mentioned, Rotary Club of Brampton has a very wonderful, warm relationship with this Pakistani foundation that has a chapter in Canada. we sponsor a school at the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan in a city called Montserrat. And it's actually named Magna Campus. For those of you who are familiar with the automotive sector, Magna is the largest automotive part manufacturer in the world and happens to be proudly Canadian. And so we're very proud of our partnership with TCF in terms of sponsoring that school and putting about 140 kids through schooling every year in Pakistan. Jamaat Al-Ansar Brampton is represented by, I know Peter Shaw is here. Peter, where are you? Oh, fantastic, there they are. Thank you, Jamaat Al-Ansar, for joining us for today's luncheon. I do have another special guest, and I'm not going to announce his name because I'm going to come back and announce his name and also let him talk about why he feels passionately about healthcare in general, but William Osler in particular, and what he's going to do in terms of encouraging the rest of us to contribute more towards the hospital. Lastly, if I may ask all the members of Canadian Pakistani Friends of Osler to stand up and be recognized. All members of Canadian Pakistani Friends of Osler. I know there's a bunch of you here. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Canadian Pakistani Friends of Osler. We have made a pledge. These are civic-minded business people and professionals who have made a pledge to raise $500,000 towards our hospital over the coming years. That pledge will be matched by Orlando Corporation, so in effect we will end up raising $1 million for our health system. Thank you. I would be remiss not to mention a gentleman that I fondly call the most seasoned Canadian Pakistani in Brampton, Iqbal Rana Sahab. Where are you, Iqbal Rana? Oh, there he is. So it was actually his idea to host an Eid luncheon on behalf of Canadian Pakistani Friends of Osler. I should not take credit for that, or CPFO should not take credit for the idea. He approached me and said, why don't we do an Eid luncheon? I said, that's a fantastic idea. Let's get a bunch of people together and have food, and let's talk about what we can do collectively. So, Rana Sahab, thank you for all that you have done over the last 4 weeks in helping us come to this moment. And that, ladies and gentlemen, it is. I certainly hope I did not miss any friends. All of you are dear and near to my heart because, as I said to you, if it wasn't for your support and contributions towards this initiative, we wouldn't be here celebrating today. Eid Mubarak to all of you, and may you see many more in coming years ahead.
Okay, our next speaker, Mayor Jeffrey, entered politics as Brampton City Councillor in 1991, and having served as Cabinet Minister from 2010 to 2014 in different capacities, she was elected Mayor of Brampton in 2014. A passionate resident of Brampton City since 1983, please welcome Mayor Linda Jeffrey.
So good afternoon, everybody. Salam alaikum. I'm joined here by Councillor Bowman, and Councillor Dillon, as was stated earlier, had to sneak out, but I know he got a chance to chat with you, many of you, today. So I thank you for inviting me to this Eid luncheon. Many of you in the room are like me. You have parents that are getting older and more frail. And as you get older, sometimes you visit emergency departments or hospitals more frequently. Over the last few months, actually the last year, my father has gotten really ill, and it happened really fast. And I had to step in to help him navigate the healthcare system in another part of Ontario. It's been a real eye-opener. In 2003, I ran for the seat of the provincial legislature because I was angry about the healthcare investments in Brampton and the fact that they hadn't kept pace with our population growth. I remember our small hospital with wonderful healthcare providers struggling to deliver healthcare in Brampton. Many of you who were here at the time I remember one particular incident when a transformer blew up and we had to evacuate 444 people out of our hospital into the streets. And many times we had to leave Brampton to go get the specialized health care that we needed. So over the last decade, we've seen some great initiatives and changes to healthcare in Brampton. $2 billion has been infused into our healthcare system through Brampton Civic, one of the largest and newest hospitals in Ontario, and has the distinction of having the busiest emergency room in Canada. Can you not hear me? You can't hear me?
There's something wrong with the mic.
There's something wrong. I'll talk loudly and, oh, they fixed it. Okay. So we've had $2 billion infused into Brampton Civic, Peel Memorial, for a Center for Integrated Health, and Arundel Kids Treatment and Development, which is about to open. It's been a challenging healthcare journey, but it's been well worth it. When I look around, there's so many healthcare professionals here today who are also leaders in supporting our hospital and driving better healthcare that people know around the world, the kind of healthcare that we have. Until somebody that you love is in crisis, like my dad was, we never really think about the healthcare services in our local hospitals and how they deliver it. Brampton currently sits in the middle of an innovation super corridor, hugging the GO rail line between Waterloo and Toronto, a high-tech cluster which is the second largest in North America. And the federal government just earlier this year announced in their budget they're focusing on 6 emerging industries, one of which is life sciences. With the university coming to town, and if you haven't heard, Ryerson is coming to town, and the continued success of Brampton-based life sciences innovators such as Dynacare, Medtronic, and William Osler Health System, they're going to help our city further develop into a destination for high-tech investors and jobs. So I'm here this afternoon. I do my ED, is that what it's called? ED? I do it monthly. Probably a decade ago, I decided to put my money where my mouth is, and I give to my hospital every single month. It's the best investment I ever made. It doesn't have to be a lot, but I want to thank the Canadian-Pakistan Friends of Osler for showing leadership, for stepping up and being here. You're walking the walk. You want better healthcare, look close to home? This is how you do it. So thank you for what you do, because we have the best doctors, the best nurses, and the best healthcare professionals in the province of Ontario. And with friends like you, we're going places. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Harinder Mulkey, who is a member of Parliament since 2014. She represents the riding of Brampton-Springdale. She is Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sports. Harinder?
Good afternoon and assalamu alaikum to everybody here today. I want to begin by saying, since we are celebrating Eid, a belated Eid Mubarak to everyone celebrating. Thank you for having me here to join you, and thank you to Badr, who's really been pushing everybody to make sure that we're here today. It's been a lot of hard work, and of course our chair, Mr. Rana. Ideas like this are what help us and support us through our times of need. As your provincial member of Parliament, I do want to say that your contributions to the healthcare system in Ontario mean the world to us. So thank you to the Canadian-Pakistani Friends of Osler. Our healthcare system and healthcare in Ontario is probably the most expensive part of our province's budget. This is where we allocate a majority of our funds, and it's going to continue to grow. As our needs grow, as the baby boomers need more and more services, it will continue to grow. We will continue to need this support. We're so thankful for all of the contributions that you make to our healthcare system. Our government has been committed to continuing to extend more and more funding to our healthcare system. For the last 2 consecutive years, our budget has shown increases in our base funding. At Brampton Civic, we have been able to open the full complement of beds, plus 2 additional ORs that were not up and running. So we're thankful to say that we are taking your message back, we are being heard, and Brampton is continuing to be funded for the needs that we have here. We're a growing community, we're a diverse community. As Badr referred to, we have high needs here with diabetes and heart surgery, heart issues. So we want to continue to focus on fulfilling our healthcare needs. We want our ERs to get better. I know that all of the healthcare professionals at William Osler work very, very hard to serve the needs of our public, of our constituents. Dr. Naveed, who will be speaking to you later, is instrumental. You can pick up the phone and call him at any time and say, you know what, I need help with this. There's always a response there. There's always somebody there. And Gravinder from our public relations at the hospital. Again, these 2 are instrumental in making sure that we're connected. Their teams are so helpful when you call them to support our patients. So thank you for all that you do for our constituents and our communities. It means the world to us, because without all of you and your teams, we couldn't make healthcare what it is today. We want to continue to support you in any way that we can. And I know that our needs are growing. I will continue to advocate for your needs, continue to talk about the need of healthcare in our community. Peel Memorial Integrated Centre for Health is an addition to Brampton that, as our mayor said, is going to be more than helpful when our university comes to town. It's going to help our youth, it's going to help our seniors, and it's more of a it talks about preventative medicine as well. There's so much community space there where people can come in and hold seminars and hold sessions. On my number of tours that I've taken of that building, I know that that staff is also committed to ensuring that we feel welcome. Just starting from the design and moving forward, everything is about welcoming people, making sure that people are comfortable during their stays at the hospital. I live about a 3-minute walking distance from Brampton Civic. So often we use the services there, whether it be, and it's always at milestones in your life. Just last year, my brother had his very first baby, my parents' first grandchild at that hospital, and he was 2 months early, so it was quite an experience for my family. But I can say that the nurses at the NICU unit ensured that we got all the support that we needed, that my family was supported the way they needed, and being somebody who uses those services, who's used them not only for this milestone in our lives, but I know that we went through a struggle last year with my uncle being sick. They walk you through it step by step. They're there to support you, they're there to help you, and that's the most important thing, because that's when you need that comfort, you need that nurturing behavior that you get from these healthcare professionals. They make William Osler and Brampton Civic what they are. Thank you for everything that you do. And thank you to, once again, to the Canadian Pakistani Friends of Osler. It's so great to see that we celebrate our diversity, and along with celebrating our diversity, we're able to contribute to the greater community. We need to continue to come together like this to make sure that we make Brampton and Ontario a better place to live. Thank you so much for having me here. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.